Hi there, friend. Today I want to share with you about confidence and specifically how you can become more confident preparing for your pageant. So confidence, as you know, is wildly important for pageant women because in order to win your pageant, you have to be able to portray that confidence. And confidence is actually made up of two pieces, okay? And these two pieces are required in order for you to have the best confidence when you walk out on stage, okay? So in this video, I'm gonna share with you what those two specific things are and what you can do to make sure you get them before your pageant, okay? So the first thing is knowing the truth, okay? Knowing the truth. And I'm not talking about just like any old truth, but I'm talking about the truth of what it takes to achieve whatever goal you're setting, okay? So this confidence can be, of course, applied to pageantry, but right now, a lot of us are setting goals for the new year, and we're thinking about, okay, how do I have the confidence to achieve anything that you set? Well, the very first thing you need to know is the truth. The truth about what it's gonna take, the truth about how to get there, right? And in fact, think about, have you ever had this happen to you, where you were like poised with a question, like, hey, you know, why is the sky blue or something like that, you know? Now, some of you might know the answer of why is the sky actually blue? And so you're confident because you know the truth, right? And maybe you've had this before where you've had a bet with somebody. I remember my husband and I, every year, my husband speaks at a conference, a real estate conference with 4,000 some people. And it's in Vegas every year. And a couple of years ago when we were there, he was saying, because they change the hotel around every year. And a couple years ago, he was like, oh yeah, I remember last year when we were at, and I think he said it was like at Mandalay Bay or something. And I was like, no, last year wasn't Mandalay Bay, it was Planet Hollywood. And he was like, wait, no, it wasn't. It was definitely, okay, so he definitely thought that it was at Mandalay Bay. And I definitely thought that it was at Planet Hollywood. All right, so we're like, wanna bet? Okay, so we bet a massage, an hour-long massage for the other, whether it was at Mandalay Bay or Planet Hollywood. And I just knew that I knew I was right. I just knew it. But he just knew that he was right. We both thought, okay, now, it doesn't really matter that I happened to be right on that. Okay, so I did win the bet. But my point here is that regardless of whether the truth really is the truth or not, your conviction of it is what is so important, okay? That's why people say, fake it till you make it, because they think, well, as long as you're pretending that you know the truth, as long as you're pretending, then perhaps you'll have a shot, okay? Now, in pageantry, that doesn't apply, all right? Because here's the thing, you might have all the confidence in the world that by wearing your hair like this, you're gonna win your pageant or something crazy, okay? I've been there before where I had all types of like wild things that I thought was the right way, but I'd realized that I'd been duped, that I had believed an untruth, either about myself or about what the pageant expected or about competition or just from hearing what goes on about politics, whatever. And I believed that truth, and so I had confidence in that truth, but it wasn't the real truth, okay? So the number one thing to having confidence is you've got to know the truth, okay? Now, how do you do that in pageantry? How do you get to the bottom of the truth, okay? Same thing for setting any goal. How do you get to the actual truth of the matter? Well, you could either search for proper feedback. Okay, so feedback is when you test something and then you're open to understanding what's the feedback that you're getting, okay? So you might try to do a thing and you might realize like, okay, based on how I did that, the feedback that I got was not positive. Let me try something different instead. You gotta be open to it, right? But that's one way of doing it is getting feedback. Now, you gotta get feedback from the right source, okay? Because there are a lot of false prophets out there too, right? We're warned about that there are a lot of people out there that might be giving you advice. I mean, think about it. In pageantry, You get advice from everybody and their mom and their cousin, and like everybody's ever watched a pageant before thinks that they can tell you exactly what you need to do. Oh, you need to dye your hair blonde. Or, oh, you really ought to grow it really long. Oh, you need extensions. Oh, you should get a better tan. Oh, you should wear the color red. Right? Do you not get this all the time? Okay. So it's great to get advice, and I encourage it because I think it's feedback, but you've got to know how to sort the feedback, right? The best phrase that I use, I got this from a mentor of mine, and it's just applied in so many ways. And this is it. It's that if the feedback applies to your situation, then modify your behavior. But if it doesn't apply, let it fly. So the easiest way to think of this, if you want to write it down as a mantra on your mirror or something, if it applies, modify. If not, let it fly, okay? And it's got to be that smooth, that easy, right? Does this apply to me? No? Okay, moving on. Okay, does this apply to me? Yes? All right, let me implement this. Okay, it can't be like, oh, but I wish that, oh, but maybe if I, no. Just let it fly or modify and move on, okay? Okay, so getting the truth, you've got to consider the source. Does this person actually have experience with this before? Do they actually know what they're talking about? Do they have a track record of success? This goes with any goal that you are setting. Perhaps you are like, I want to launch my podcast this year. I've always wanted to do this and I want to go for it. Don't take some advice from someone who's never done a podcast before, right? Like you're not going to, or someone who's never listened to podcasts before. Even worse, right? You want to consider the source. Where is this information coming from? And does it apply to me? And if so, then modify your behavior or apply that behavior, right? And if not, let it fly, okay? Because what you are actually looking for, you're sorting for the truth, okay? And the truth is out there. You got to look for it, okay? In any situation, what you are trying to do, you got to find the truth. Okay, here's part 2, all right? So first thing is you got to know the truth. All right, here's the second piece. This is the piece that actually is the thing that I've found in my pageant contestants that is the make or break for anybody, okay? Finding the truth is one thing, and getting the truth and making sure that it's actually true is one thing. But then you've got to actually go all in. You've got to apply it. You got to do the work, right? And that's the piece that trips people up. Here's why. Because some of you know the truth, and perhaps you've even competed in a pageant before. This has happened to me before, where I competed in a pageant. I knew what I should have been doing. I knew what I should have been doing. I knew what the pageant needed. I knew the look that they were looking for. I knew all the stuff, and I made lazy decisions and didn't do the things. So guess what my result was? I didn't win the pageant. And when I look back on that, I think, what the heck was I thinking? I actually knew what I needed to do. That's the first step. But now you need to apply it, okay? And you got to apply it to the extreme. Because what a lot of women do is that they understand what they need to do and then they don't do it. And then it comes to a month before their pageant or 2 months before their pageant. And now they're like scrambling, like, I have to get all these things done. I have to learn how to do my makeup. I got to figure out my dress. I got to get a legacy project now. Oh, I got to figure out how I'm going to do all of this time and how am I going to pack. And all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. But here's the tricky part is that you actually knew the truth the whole time, perhaps. And you just never applied it. You never actually went all in. So now when you step out onto stage, not only were you just like, what might have been better is just be naive and be like, whatever, I don't even know the truth. I'm just kind of having fun out here. But now you show up with a heaviness because you realize, actually, I knew what to do and I didn't do it. And that is so much worse. So my dear, let me encourage you in these 2 specific things. Number 1, find the truth, the actual truth, what actually is going to help you achieve your goals. Don't just take advice from any old where, okay? Make sure that it comes from a credible source. And then number 2, go all in. Once you know the truth, once you know what you need to do, apply it. Just apply it. Just do the things. Don't make any lazy decisions, okay? My trainer told me this years ago, no lazy decisions. You should never make a decision just because you're being lazy. No, okay? Your decisions need to be because this is what I need to do or this is what I don't need to do. This is gonna be healthy for me. This is gonna be not healthy. Not because you're just lazy, okay? Take it from me. This has happened to me. It perhaps has even happened to you. I think lots of us, this has happened to, and this is kind of how we learn, right? But I want to get you there before you end up on stage all on your own, knowing the truth and being like, ah, crap, I just wish I would have done this, okay? So get the truth and go all in, my dear, because that is how you win a pageant.